My question is to ask the Minister to update the cost of disability for persons and families as committed to in the programme for government.
Mr Humphreys.
Thank you, Cathaoirleach, and thank you, Deputy, for raising this issue. The programme for government commits the government to use the research into the cost of disability to individuals and families to properly inform the direction of future policy. My department commissioned Indecon International Consultants to carry out research into the cost of disability in Ireland. The report has now been received by my department and they are considering it in detail. This matter is significantly wider than the income support system, and it is clear that it will not be addressed through income support alone. That is why a whole-of-government perspective has been taken. The level of engagement with individuals living with disabilities through the survey undertaken and the level of the response from people with disabilities provided vital inputs to the research. To Indecon's knowledge, this survey was by far the largest such survey of individuals living with disabilities in Ireland. While this may have delayed the finalisation of the report, the quality of the report is clearly going to be enhanced by the scale of the survey and the subsequent analysis. Due consideration will have to be given to the findings of the report by the relevant government departments, the Department of Health, the Department of Children, Disability Equality and Integration and the Department of Public Expenditure and Reform, all of whom have a role to play in the delivery of disability services. So as a first step, we will be sharing the report with and seeking the views of these departments. Once this process is complete, I intend to submit the report to Government. I then intend to host a forum of interested stakeholders to discuss the report and receive inputs on how we might best address issues raised in the report, and I plan for that to take place in the autumn. Separately, the supports and services for people with disability are continually reviewed by my department. In Budget 2021, I introduced a number of improvements, including the increase of €20 in the earnings disregard for recipients of Disability Allowance, a €1,000 training grant to help people with disabilities who are seeking employment, and an increase of €150 to the carer support grant.
Deputy Gannon.
Thank you.
Minister, I am aware that Indecon International Consultants, who were commissioned by your department to carry out this much needed research, received a much higher response rate than was the target, and that has delayed the project, and I accept that's understandable. 4,700 responses from people with disabilities were received. The original target was 1,000. I saw the survey and understand the time that went into each and every one of those submissions, and I agree that the substantial information and insight gained will be invaluable. As the Minister stated in the PQ reply to me, it was one of the most detailed surveys ever undertaken in Ireland of individuals with disabilities. However, it is precisely because of how valuable this information is and the report is that we need to be published as soon as possible. And Minister, I didn't glean from your answer there that the report would be finished before to inform Budget 2022. And I think if that's the case, that is quite disappointing. Can you just confirm for me, will this report become finished and will it inform the outcomes of Budget 2022 across departments?
Thanks, Deputy Minister.
Thank you, Deputy. And as you said, this is a major piece of work. And as I said earlier, Indecon believe it's the largest survey of people living with disabilities ever undertaken in Ireland. I will be engaging with the disability representative groups as part of my department's pre-budget forum on the 14th of July. And as I outlined in my initial reply, we took a number of positive steps in last year's budget. Of course, we want to do more, but in terms of the next step, I want to bring this. I have to get feedback from the other departments. I want to take the report to Government, and it's important that it has an implication on other departments. So I need to get their input as well, and I want them to consider this report. It has taken a good deal of time to put it together. There has been unprecedented levels of consultation, and once it has been approved by Government, I absolutely want there to be a full, open, and frank engagement with the disability sector on its findings, and I look forward to engaging with
Thanks,
yourself
Minister.
as well, Deputy.
Deputy Gannon.
Minister, and I don't think we're disagreeing in any way, shape or form here, but the original report was expected at the end of 2020, and again, I fully appreciate the delay is understandable, but can the Minister, if possible, provide assurances that the report will be available to the budget, before the budget, and to inform the budget? And furthermore, if the report is not completed, that as an interim measure to implementing the cost of disability committed to in the programme for government, that the government will perhaps then commit to an increase of €20 per week for the disability allowance in the budget. Minister, I accept that it's not all about income, but people with disabilities are living in poverty at the minute, and that does come down to income. So in the absence of the report being concluded, which I'm taking from your contribution may not be the case in Reform Budget 2022, could we at least commit to the €20 increase in disability allowance?
Thanks, Deputy Minister.
Thank you, Deputy. Well, of course, as you know, when it comes to the budget, there are a lot of competing priorities, and it's a bit early to go into that discussion yet. So what I would say is we want to do more in this year, but of course we look at it all, and we have the benefit of this report. As I said, we'll be talking to the other departments, bringing it to government, and I will be consulting now on the 14th of July. I have a pre-budget forum at that stage, and I will be consulting with the different organisations, including the disability representative groups, whom I have met this year already. But I will continue to engage closely with the sector, and also with my government colleague, Minister of State for Disabilities, Anne Rabbitte, who I work extremely well with Anne, and she's doing wonderful work in that space as well. So it's not just my department alone; it's a number of departments involved here, and we certainly will be taking on board the recommendations of this report.
Question 106.